Alright everybody, this is Yara here and I'm over here with Declan that terrorized our locals with what deck were you playing today, Declan?
Gouki's.
Gouki's?
Yeah.
Alright. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to say?
Shout out to my friend Daniel. He actually gave me the idea for this a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. This isn't like, this wasn't really originally meant to be a competitive deck. It was just meant to be like kind of like a fun anime sentimental deck. So yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. Let's start with the weird ones out of the way.
Okay.
Attack partner, he's just a good attack booster overall. Like he's also good at grind games because you can banish him from your grave to like shovel back the rematch.
You wanna?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Ring trainer, he's a good recycler. I only run one because like he doesn't search like most of the other Gokis. He isn't, but he does like come up every now and then because like most people never really see him coming. Then I run 2 Fire Flint ladies. I used to run 3, but like ever since the Solde got banned and Fire Flint lady isn't as good, it's still a really great extender and actually does give targeting protection, which is much appreciated. So yeah, that's pretty cool. 3 Gouki Guts. That's it. This one is just kind of is personally sentimental because like this is one of the first cards I ever got. It's also really good as a searcher too. It's a 1-for-1 target. It's reinforcements of the army target. It's basically the definition of searchable.
That's in case skill drain gets hit.
So yeah. The other level 1 that people most likely know is Octo Stretch. This is way more useful than people think because like it can actually stop a lot of FTKs. Is like most people never see it coming. One of the biggest examples is Gimmick Puppet. Since like Gimmick Puppet usually aims for like big damage overall, so you can by cutting one of those in half, it at least increases your chances of surviving. So yeah, that's pretty good. Next up is Iron Claw, which is the other hand trap. But this one is similar to my Guts. It's basically just another search target. You can use the battle effect. Again, most people don't really see it coming, and they always forget it's unaffected for the turn. So like it's good protection. Just wish it could be done earlier. One of my personal favorites is Twist Cobra. This one, again with the others, searchable. It's also like one of the best attack boosting cards probably ever. It quick effect tributes any Gouki and then gives its attack to another. This is really good, especially with Giant Ogre, which is your link. Since that one can like stack onto that and make an OTK machine, you know. And yeah, another one is Super X. This is hands down the most obvious one. And it's a little bit outdated nowadays, but it's still very good and honestly one of the best starters for the deck. Heck, since it can just summon any Gouki. And the normal summon is not once per turn, by the way. You can actually, if you can recycle that, you can keep doing it over and over again. And next up is Headbat. This is another obvious one. And it's basically just a free summon from hand. And don't forget about the attack boosting effect though, because like that can actually end up being the difference between you winning and losing. Yeah, it's a great card. I only run 1 Rice Scorpio though. Despite it being along with the originals like Twist Cobra and Super X, it's not really the best. Since it does let you summon itself. It just doesn't do much on its own besides being another body. But still, I also really like the design. Highly recommend. Next up is Bear Hug. Bear Hug is kind of just a worse Rice Scorpio in a way. It doesn't really do much besides it being another body. It does have the highest attack of every main deck Gouki though, and now there are situations where you can use it against like very high towers. One of the best examples is when I used it against a hero deck, since this basically cuts it down to half its original attack, which basically means you can beat over anything. So yeah. Next up is Moonsault. Most people don't play this one, but that's because they aren't aware of the combo you can do, where later down the line, if you get your Power Load Ogre, you can actually get a free special off this guy, since he's unaffected by all card effects, including your own. So by targeting him with Moonsault, you can get a free monster on the field, and he's also good at recycling. So yeah. This one's just for a meme. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Look at this, bro.
Yeah. This one, I didn't really have much of a choice. Like I took a lot of time to find a tuner. There weren't really that many ones that synergize pretty well, but this one, Goukis don't really have that many monsters that can summon if you control nothing. This doesn't interfere with their overall strategy, and it also is a great tuner overall. Like, also it's just adorable, so I can't really say no to that. For spells, we have Gouki Rematch. This is probably the most obvious. It's a double Monster Reborn. To this day, I still do not know why they printed this. Like, it's honestly just hilarious. Yeah. Next up is Heroic Call. This is kind of like a pseudo Monster Reborn for the deck, where it can summon any warrior from your hand or grave, but you can't use its effects and it cannot attack. The graveyard effect, not really going to be useful, probably not going to happen ever, but it's still really good. Like, this has saved me many times since it can just spit out anything from hand or grave, so it's just useful whether it's for link climbing or just getting your play started. So yeah. Next up is Link Into the Reigns. And this card is just is similar to Heroic Call. It's good because you can summon anything from your hand and then just immediately link summon. That means you can automatically get a search off from most likely one or two of your Gokis. And the graveyard effect can actually come up every now and then since it's a good way of recycling. And most of the time, at least with Gokis, you have like tons of different options since they're all Earth Warriors. So yeah, you can keep doing that. Obviously, I run Monster Reborn. It's just useful as a great link climbing tool. Bring back the Link 3s or even Link 2s can definitely extend you much further. Smile World.
Bro, this guy is not being for real. There's no... he's not being for real with it.
Honestly, I just run it because it's another sentimental card. It's just something I've had since I was little, and it's one of the cards that actually introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh. Another reason is that it also does actually come up, since if you combine it with something like Giant Ogre, it can actually become like the difference between you winning. Since by having its attack change, you can make it gain another 1,000 and basically increase the chances of you OTK, especially against a defensive monster. Obviously, we play Rhoda. I know Gokis need more surgery, so this is definitely much helpful. Called By. This is just the best I got against hand traps. I don't know how, but I kept drawing this against every single time someone tried to hand trap me. I hit it with Droll. I hit Ash. Like, it just felt really good to see people's reactions. Next one is Face Turn. This is kind of similar to Monster Reborn and Heroic Call. This one I highly recommend because people don't know much about this, but it basically lets you destroy a Gouki and revive one from your grave. This is insane, especially considering it's searchable, and you can get a search off of destroying that Gouki while also bringing back like a Link 2 or Link 3, or just any Gouki you really want. But next up is 1-for-1, and this one is just another option to summon from deck. Right now, the best, and Gokis have a surprising amount of level 1 options. Like I said, you have Ring Trainer, Fire Flint Lady, Guts, Octo Stretch, tons of options. You're not really gonna run out. And final card is Goki's finishing move. This is the OTK card. You can kill your opponent in one turn with this. This works well with almost any Link mods, any Gouki Link. Like, the absolute lowest or worst situation you're going to have with this is like a 3k piercing damage Link monster, and that's really it. Moving on to the extra deck. For starters, we have my personal favorite, Power Load Ogre. This guy is unaffected by everything. Like, literally, he is unaffected by everything. Hang on. He also has an attack boosting effect for every link you have. So, like, the more you spit out, the more power he gains. You can't really kill this by normal means. You have to like either destroy it by battle or like kaiju over it. He also has a self-pop. He also has an effect that pops up to 4 cards depending on the link monsters you tribute. It's really good, and it also doesn't require just Gokis. You can use Fire Flint Lady for it since it just requires warriors. So it's just really good card. Probably one of the most generic ones too. Yeah, but definitely don't leave home without it. Next up is Link 2 Jet Ogre. This is a card you want to play more because of what it is rather than what it does. Because while you can use the graveyard effect to like chain protect your monsters from an Ash or sometimes even some other negates, you mainly want to have it because like it's the best Link 2 you have. There is Heal Ogre, but Heal Ogre is a bit too situational ever since Master Duel 4 ended, and there's not really as much reliance on Link monsters. This one's still pretty good though. It actually has surprisingly high attack for a Link 2. So that's pretty cool. Next up is Solid Ogre. This guy is definitely the defensive ends of the team, and he has good battle and card effect protection, and he's definitely good at like manipulating monster zones and whatnot. Yeah, he's like a good. He's like also like a plan B in case you can't get into one of your power loads. So but yeah, most of the time you want to aim for power load, but if you can't, this guy isn't actually a bad option. Good attack, good effect, overall good protection. Not really that bad. Thunder Ogre is one of the most known Link 3s. He's like the Link climbing tool. He's a double summon in it for your deck, and it's just good at extending. He's synergizes super well with every Gouki, especially Super X, since you can utilize his effect more often. The only thing I recommend is do not leave him in the extra monster zone, because this will help your opponent, since he can summon next to his zone too. So just try not to do that if you can help it. Next up is Blade Ogre. Blade Ogre is a weird card, since it's not really going to be used as much for attacking. Most of the time, you want to aim for tributing the opponent's monsters, since it has a pointing up arrow. So if you rearrange your monsters well enough, you can use it to tribute pretty much almost anything. Like you can tribute a monster that's pointing from your extra monster zone, or just flat out any monster from your opponent's monster zone if you can bring it back from the grave. It is not a hard one per turn. You can use this multiple times, and it even helps with OTKing every now and then. Destroy Ogre. Destroy Ogre is probably one of the worst links, unfortunately. It does everything the deck probably doesn't want. Like, it has battle protection. It has an effect that kind of just helps the opponent and even locks you into Gokis. I mainly just run it because there is a small thing you can do with it where you can just bring back some Gokis from your graveyard, and you can do this turn 1 if your opponent has hand traps, since those aren't usually used as often. Still, you don't want to aim for this like 90% of the time. Like, it's more like if it happens, but it's probably not going to happen. Next up is the OG Gouki the Great Ogre. This is their first ever Link monster, and it has aged surprisingly well, if I'm being honest. Like, it lowers almost every monster except for Link monster's attack. It has good protection. It synergizes well with Gokis, and even for a Link 3, it has actually some of the highest attack. Like it's honestly one of the best ones. So yeah, pretty good. Next up is Master Ogre. This is one of the best cards when it comes to FTKing. Hang on. Since this thing can attack all monsters and has a negate effect, while it is not nearly as good as it used to be, it's honestly still one of the best, since it can basically attack everything, and if you combine it with something like your finishing move, it can be used to basically attack over everything with piercing and a negation effect if you have a Gouki pointing next to it. So that's probably one of the best things about it. This is probably their best boss monster.
Screw that card. Screw that card for real, bro.
Please excuse my salty friend.
Like, straight up. I tried to nib this card, and the dude was at 35. He was at 35. I tried to nib him. He's like, nope.
Yeah. No, this guy just does a lot. For starters, he's unaffected by all monsters with attack equal to or less than him. He has targeting protection. He can't be destroyed in battle. He has an attack boosting effect on top of all that, which is just insane. And I know it's an anime card, but like, man, they just shoved as many good effects on here as they possibly could. Like, really, the best realistic way to get rid of this is usually just generic cards like Lightning Storm or Raigeki. But even then, if you have to rely on that just to get rid of this one card, then that's just a lot. He can also get to the highest attack out of any Gouki, since he has the highest base attack and with the attack boosting effect. So just with this, you can get an 8k monster with targeting protection, essentially unaffected by all monster effects, and deals piercing. And that's without any other Gouki cards like Twist Cobra or Iron Claw or anything like that. Lastly, this is just for the memes. Crimson Blader. He's kind of a weird card. I mainly just run him because I want to expand the Gokis to beyond just Link summoning. He didn't really come up at all, but another reason is that when combined with this guy, you officially have the perfect Deadpool and Wolverine reference for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but for what it's worth, this guy can actually come up. I've had games where this has locked my opponent pretty much out of playing the game, since a lot of decks do rely on level 5 or higher monsters. But just to try and use him sparingly. Yeah, and try to aim for the other Gokis before this. This is more like a kind of a playing C option if I'm being honest. But still, really fun. Yeah, that's all of them.
All right. Yep. Declan, do you think Isolde is gonna come back on the next list?
I honestly, it depends. It depends on like how they want to rearrange cards and whatnot. I would be happy if it does come back, but I honestly understand like there's a bunch of different decks that can take a lot more advantage of this, since like if Gokis don't even use this the best, and even then it's like an essential key enabler. Like I can honestly understand the ban. And one thing I didn't like though was like I used to play Linkuriboh in this deck.
No.
That did not age well.
Because of this deck, the Link Karibo got banned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inside knowledge.
No more Octo Stretch to Link Karibo.
You can use Guts too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yada would like a soda back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're like.
Say you want it back.
All right, Declan. Congratulations. Appreciate the deck profile. Thank you.